In progress.
Can you hear me all?
So there is some echo. I think yours.
Yeah, I'll close one window.
Yeah.
Now you'll not hear the echo.
But then now the volume is a little lesser.
Oh, I can come closer to the
Uh,
Actually,
so maybe you can switch off the speaker of one of your devices.
no, don't worry. Now it will be all right. Is it all right?
Actually, the volume is a little less to me. I don't know about others.
I'll increase the volume.
Uh, the sound is a little less for me. Can somebody else confirm, please?
Is it all right now?
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
Yeah.
It's okay, Dr. Hasina.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. I had some difficulty in joining you. So I opened another laptop and then kept my computer ready. Now computer is ready. So somehow, at the end of the day, you have to deliver. That is outcome. We can't give excuses. We can't just do a shallow job. We have to produce the results. So let's. Somebody says volume is low. Is that all right now? I'll pull my computer close by.
But previously, volume was very good.
Is it okay now?
It's audible, but then when it's a little bit of longer conversation, it's a little difficult to comprehend. That's all.
Oh,
The
well,
previous one was very good. The sound was very good.
that was laptop. That was laptop. What shall I do? Shall I use a laptop then? Wait. Is there any other way I can increase volume? I have increased the volume to the full 100% I have. You have some difficulty. Okay, I will just hold on. I will. Is it all right now? Is it okay now? Is it okay now?
And sound is feeble to me.
There is some echo now. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir, your voice is echoing.
I will join the meeting again. Oh, goodness. Is it, can you hear me now? No?
Yes, sir, you're audible, but then the voice is little low. That's all.
That's all.
Yeah, we need to little focus a little more to understand.
Okay. I wish I had the link a little earlier. Anyway, I think I will join again. Sorry about it. I had some difficulty. Can you see me? Can you hear me now? Voice is similar or the same?
No, it's better now.
Better now. Okay. Uh,
So your video is off too.
yeah, I will keep my video off. Can you see my PPT?
Yes, yes.
Good. Okay. As I told you, there was some difficulty when I was opening my computer. It asked me for restart. So stand by. I had my laptop. I joined, but then the PPT was in the computer. So we are here like this. Anyhow, at the end of the day, as I said, we have to deliver the goods. The topic is outcome-based teaching and learning, and we begin with a quotation from Henry Adams, which many of you may be aware of. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. This influence is all about outcome. So I think she is training. Are you training to hear me? One second. Please hold on. I will transfer. Also. I'll get my laptop ready, so don't worry. I'll use my laptop. Can you all hear me now? Hello, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
I have to. This is, I think, another screen. There is some echo. I think I have got into trouble. I have to close that and come here. Both systems are
It's very
open.
audible now, unlike before.
Audible, but the other system is also open. Let me close it. Yeah, now can you hear me? The echo is not there.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
clear.
All that I have to do is to download that PPT. Where is that? This is the problem. Yes, I got it. Yes, it has come. Now I can share. Where is it? But where is it? Yeah, share. So sorry. Yes. Window, is it open? Yeah. Got it now? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Is the PPT visible?
Yes, sir. Very well.
Okay, thank you. Is the voice clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, you want to see me now?
Yeah, please, sir. We would love to.
Yeah, you can see me now. Can you? Yeah, the camera is asking for permission. Um, oh, I'm yet to come on screen, right? Oh, I am on screen now. I'm so sorry, participants, for this inconvenience. I was not aware of the fact that I had to come through Zoom. I was ready for Gmeet, and so in addition, the computer system also gave me some trouble. Anyway, now we are here with the let me repeat, whatever happens we have to deliver goods, and our delivery has some impact which we may not imagine. How it will affect our future we never know. So in our case, our students are the people who carry the impact with them throughout their life, and they pass it on to their generations as well. So let's move. What are we going to see in this presentation now? We'll see an introduction to outcome based education. Look at the views of one WG Spaddy and one NJ Rao on outcome based education. We will discuss the examples and types of outcome based education. Most importantly, we have to understand the graduate attributes that we should know and inculcate in our students, for which we have to develop a curriculum and deliver the curriculum in the classroom, and also assess our students how they have learned. And for that we have to use some assessment criteria. Particularly, we will see two assessment criteria. One is norm referenced, another is criterion referenced assessment. And then we'll see how learning outcomes are derived from Bloom's taxonomy, which is more interested in using verbs. And ultimately we will learn the value of verbs and summarize our presentation. What is this outcome based education, and why is this outcome based education? Now we are almost all of us are into outcome based education, from engineering, from arts, from science, from everywhere, and we have some history for that. Briefly, it all started with this accreditation board for engineering and technology in the US, and then other countries joined like UK, ISO, India also. We have this Bureau of Indian Standards. We want to have some standard. How do we achieve standards? And then in education, this Washington Accord was signed in 1989, primarily to introduce 4-year degree programs: engineering, medicine, law, and such programs. They have had 4-year program, 5-year program, and all that. But in general, in our arts and science teams, we have had primarily, even you won't know, some of you from the northeast or northern parts of the country would know there is a 2-year degree program, and in our southern states we don't have that. So different degree programs: 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, and all that. Now we want to have a 4-year program. That's why we are introducing BA honors, BSc honors with a 4-year duration and all that. Our Indian state joined this accord in 2014. For engineering, National Board of Accreditation is a nodal agency to implement this program. For arts and science, UGC is a nodal agency. As you know, you must be familiar with this learning outcome based curriculum framework. All of us were teaching, all of us were doing all this, but now we have to package everything in a new format. That's what we are doing. So you can see a number of countries having joined this, and it all started with this globalization of education, particularly higher education. Students should be able to move, faculty should be able to move from country to country, and they should be able to find opportunities. And finally you will find that at the core of it, you will find that there is some kind of economic motive, how education system can be used to improve the economy of your country. US, UK, many of the European countries, they are all good at it. They have their campuses throughout the world, and they attract students from elsewhere, and they add a lot of value to their economy. And India is also doing that now. uh, why we have uh, different manifestations of outcome based education. We call it outcome based education, or performance based education, or outcome focused education, or even outcome based learning. And in the UGC we have this learning outcome based curriculum framework now, LOCF. So from the medieval period, throughout human history, we have this outcome-based education. Any kind of apprenticeship, once that student undergoes the apprenticeship under the guidance of a trained person, that person becomes eligible for doing that profession. So we have something called guildsman. We have something called apothecary apprenticeship. Those of you who know about John Keats would know that he was training himself to become a medical doctor. Initially, he started with this apothecary apprenticeship, but he did not continue that and wrote poetry instead for his own reasons, as you know. And in modern period, we have medicine, law, engineering, and even some aspects of general education where we have some outcomes are outlined and the students are expected to perform well after this education. Now let's see what Spady says about outcome-based education. It means clearly focusing on and organizing everything in an educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. This means starting with a clear picture of what is important for students to be able to do. Doing is important, knowing is one thing, and based on that knowing, somebody has to do certain things. Then organizing, look at that curriculum, instruction, assessment, everything has to be focused on the ability of students to perform something in real life. That's why we have a focus on outcome based education. For this, two keys are important: developing a clear set of learning outcomes and establishing the conditions of learning. Nowadays, we struggle hard to write these learning outcomes or learning objectives and all that. There is another aspect, some of us are not able to do that, but in private industry, educational industry, that some of the institutions like VIT, they are able to provide, establish the conditions of learning. And in some government setup like IIT, it is possible. In some other state universities or central universities, it may be possible, but not in all places. So at least through this kind of workshop or training, we can come to know about what are the conditions of learning that we have to create for ourselves. From external sources, we can learn, but everything involves some money. To provide resources, money is essential. What are outcomes then? If we understand outcome based education to be an education which helps students to perform something at the end of their education, what is that performance? What is that outcome that we want? Outcomes are clear learning results that we want students to demonstrate at the end of significant learning experiences. A student who undergoes engineering for 4 years, at the end of the 4 years, for example, an electrical engineering student should be able to understand the problems in electrical engineering and solve the problems and do everything that is possible. They are not values, beliefs, attitudes, or psychological states of mind. Instead, outcomes are what learners can actually do with what they know and have learned. Learning is not just for the sake of learning, it's for the sake of doing something, and that doing something should benefit somebody, particularly the society at large. They are the tangible application of what has been learned. When we need a bridge, and a civil engineer should be able to construct a bridge, and that bridge should survive for a long time so that people can travel. This means that outcomes are actions and performances that embody and reflect learner competence in using content, that is the knowledge, information, ideas. These are all related to content and tools. Remember, learning to use computers today is one skill that all of us are expected to learn, not only engineering students. Initially, computer science students learned about computers, but now all engineering students are learning about computers. And now this is extended to science students, arts and science students. Everybody is, even a student of Tamil or English or history or geography, will have to know something about computers. Otherwise, they can't survive in this world today. Initially, it was a cognitive domain because knowledge was imparted, and then later on, now we have added. Remember, those of you who have done um, something about education would know there are three domains in education. One is cognitive domain, another is affective domain, that is relating to heart, feeling, emotion, and third one, psychomotor, that is to do with using our body, doing some action, thinking, feeling, and doing. These are the three domains that we have in education. What are the outcomes according to Rao? As you can see earlier, the word competence was used. Now the word abilities is used. Outcomes are the abilities of the students who acquire at the end of a learning experience. The learning experience can be an instructional unit, one lesson that involves a small number of hours, say 4 hours, 5 hours of instructional activity. It can be a course of 1 semester duration, or a 2 to 4 year formal undergraduate program, or even a postgraduate program. Outcomes serve as a basis for effective interaction among stakeholders concerned: teachers, students, parents, employers. These are the four stakeholders primarily that we deal with: students, parents, teachers, institution owners, and then employers or even government officials. Now, what are the examples of outcome-based education? We have already got them in military. One who gets training will have to deliver. No one can escape. Similarly, scouting or even in NCC, one has to perform. Even in karate, when you learn a step, you have to use it. Even scuba instruction, swimming in the sea with some gadgets, flight schools, particularly pilots, ski schools where we this game or this kind of exercise, one room schoolhouses, alternative high schools, or parenting. How can we just imagine at home? We are doing this outcome based in our own home. A parent, a father, and a mother, they want the child to grow in a certain way. They want the child to become somebody in life. So even parenting is an example of outcome based education. We have to understand it is good parenting, successful parenting. Then we have, and when it comes to educational context, we have vocational education, ITI, polytechnic colleges, and engineering colleges. Engineering colleges, where we have more practical components, you will find that that is successful. Where we have theory components, more theory components, that may not be so successful. This outcome-based education is all about more of practical experience with which the students can apply the learning, and then later on in real life do something for the society, for themselves. There are three types of OBE now. As far as I know, we are in the initial stage. At least we have been moving in that direction. We were all trying to change our existing curriculum to match with the OBE type, that is traditional. And maybe after 10, now 15, 2014, that in engineering it started, but now recently it started with arts and science also. But when I checked the syllabus of some of the universities and colleges, I found that we are not even in transitional stage. We are only in traditional stage. Transitional stage tells us to focus in general on graduate attributes. We will see what are the graduate attributes in this presentation, and higher order thinking skills. Lower order thinking skills, higher order thinking skills, six skills that we have to develop through this Bloom's taxonomy. And then last one, transformational, to equip every learner with the required knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values for success in life and in future. This is what we have in developed countries, and that's what developing countries are aiming at. We should be able to produce students like in the US or UK or Europe, where they can really find their education useful for themselves and for the society in general. These are the elements of an outcome based education. You can see uh, outcomes, curriculum, instruction, results, and then how we can proceed further. You have documentation is important: what we did, what we are going to do, what we did, where is the gap, and then what we can do further. All that: direction, design, delivery, documentation, all these things are interrelated. We as teachers are not good at documentation. That, I think, is one of the outcomes that we can get from this outcome based education. Do we write down whatever we do in the classroom, or afterwards whatever our students do? Noticing and then noting down, all these things are very, very useful. As we mentioned earlier, during these elements of OBE, we have a special focus on a particular structure that we use normally in our own setup: course outcomes, course contents, course methods or instructional methods, and in this case, teacher, student, and uh, other environment, particularly peers. These three are involved. Even library can be brought in here. our laboratory can be brought in here, and then finally assessment methods, all are interconnected. Any outcome based education should be able to consider all of them. It's not that we don't consider, we have some objectives or we have some outcomes, we also have some contents, we have some instructional method, at least lecture method we have. We teach our students interact within themselves. Some students are self directed whereas many are not. And then we test students, we have internal assessment test, we have end semester examination and all that. But one thing that from this presentation, if at all you want to take some takeaway from this presentation, this is a focus. If we can learn to match outcomes with contents, outcomes and contents with methods, outcomes, contents, methods with assessment methods, then we should be all right. We should be able to deliver goods. We should be able to do miracles in our classrooms. We have one outcome, but content is different. Instructional method is one more different, and assessment method is totally different. So if we have like this, if there is a lack of coherence among these four ideas here: course outcomes, course contents, instructional methods, and assessment methods. If there is no synergy among these four, then that education cannot be really successful. That is what I noticed, and many of you would have noticed. Now our whole burden is to learn how to synergize these four elements. And if you can pick up some ideas from this presentation for your own teaching, everyone will be teaching some course. The syllabus may have been designed by somebody. That is a different, that is also another problem in our country. Every teacher doesn't teach the course that he or she designs. VIT is good that way, or IIT is good that way. Some autonomous colleges may have this liberty or freedom, but many colleges don't have, where there is something called board of studies, and board of studies members may not go to classroom or teach in the classroom, and they may not deal with this, anything that they discuss in their meetings. So to bridge this, to bring about some unity or some kind of coherence among these four ideas that we have in this, if you are able to successfully do it, then we can really succeed in doing it. I'll give you one example. For example, we have something called technical English in Anna University. I was teaching that course for some time, and then one after many years I realized that whatever we have in technical English is not really technical English. Why should I use the same material, textbook material, and how can I help myself to do that job really? That's where I use some biographies of scientists in the classroom. uh, that's where I use some biographical materials of scientists in the classroom to teach technical English. I taught more real technical English using biographies of scientists than the book that was prescribed by Anna University. That is where, as an individual, I was trying to um, match outcomes, contents, methods, and all these. As you can see, I am moving now. Somebody is giving me water at home, so I am receiving that and doing that. Okay, let he will give some more. Now you can see norm versus criterion referenced assessment. We can, in the case of elements of OBE, I told you about outcomes, course contents, instructional methods. Largely, you can we use lecture method. In my class, what I did, I involved the students to read some passage, identify the technical words used in that biography, scientific words or words relating to engineering, words relating to uh, um, one definition or paragraph writing or if conditional classes, and all that I was doing with some biographical material of scientists. Even otherwise we could do that. So, and that gave me a lot of satisfaction in uh, helping students. Why it is moving on its own? Okay. Now we come to norm versus criterion referenced assessment. One of the major drawbacks of our education is this assessment. We are not really assessing our students about what they really learn, and most importantly, about what we really teach. our focus, both students and teachers are focused on content only. So some content we give, and we expect students to have learned the content and then reproduce the content. So now how can we improve it? So Robert Glaser, long back in 1963, came up with this distinction between norm versus criterion referenced assessment. So what is this norm referenced assessment? It is a range of mastery in relation to other test takers. In a class of 30 or 60, we design a test, and the test is in relation to all other test takers, all students. So this kind of test is called low stake tests. We use this in school and college, and we don't really share with our students how we evaluate a paragraph, how we evaluate a speech or a seminar, for example. Uh, and if at all we come up with a scheme of evaluation that is shared only among the teachers during the evaluations time, where we have some hundreds of teachers coming together evaluating all the sheets, we want to have some kind of uniformity. That's only we do that only with the students, not with so only with the teachers, not with students. On the other hand, when we come to this criterion referenced assessment, you can see it refers to a range of proficiency from low to high mastery, low, middle level, and high level. And we are able to see different levels of performance of students. And for that, we have some criteria. And this kind of criteria are used in high stake tests. One of the examples of high risk, or high stake tests is air traffic controller examinations. Fortunately, I had an opportunity to be associated with the Airport Authority of India in Chennai. We trained pilots and people who are air traffic, not exactly pilots, air traffic controllers, and it was a really job satisfying work for us. In this case, what we do, we use descriptors and we learn them, we share them with the learners. Learners would know what they have to learn, and we would know what we have to teach and also test. So clarity in communication is there in this second case of criterion referenced assessment. In this case, we don't assess one student in relation to another student. We assess a student in relation to low level mastery, middle level mastery, and high level mastery. Has a student been able to move from low to middle or low to high? That's what we assess a student individually. But in the case of the previous one, norm reference to assessment, we don't assess individuals individually, we assess all the students together. Now we have this one kind of some of you who are associated with the IELTS examination would know, we are familiar with this descriptors. For speaking, for example, when I apply this IELTS band 9s for speaking, you can read for yourself and see whether all of us have this band 9 for speaking. Speaks fluently, and you see four headings are there: fluency and coherence. A person who is at the level of band 9, from 1 to 9, we have this band, and one who is at band 9 level speaks fluently with only rare repetition or self correction. You would have seen I was making some repetitions, making some corrections, but I read through this and I found that I might not be at this band 9 level. Occasionally I may fall down to band 8 also. Any hesitation is content related rather than to find words or grammar. Many of our students have this problem: which sentence structure we should use, which words we should use. In that case, when we struggle for words, we'll be at a lower level. Speaks coherently with fully appropriate cohesive features. Cohesive features, linking markers, on the other hand, for example, and all that, some relevant cohesive features we have to use. And also, a person at this level would be able to develop topics fully and appropriately. All aspects of this talk or topic must be covered properly and appropriately. They should be brought in at appropriate levels. Another topic that we have here is lexical resource. At this level, Students or users must be able to use vocabulary with full flexibility and precision in all topics. That precise use of words, precise choice of words. The speaker uses idiomatic language naturally and accurately. I may do that unknowingly, but many times I don't use so much of idiomatic language for a simple reason. I was told, for us second language learners, we don't have to focus too much on idiomatic language. We have to convey meanings easily. Everyone should be able to understand. But when we use idiomatic language, other listeners may not be able to understand. So that kind of focus has always been there in my life, communicate ideas accurately and correctly. So I didn't focus too much on idiomatic language use. Next, grammatical range and accuracy. Full range of structures, naturally and appropriately. Simple, compound, complex, or question, statement, exclamation, everything. We should, if conditional or different types of structures, all structures available in language, one should be able to use accurately. And the speaker produces consistently accurate structures apart from slips. Some slips always will be there, even in native speakers as well. That can be accepted. And similarly, pronunciation uses your full range of pronunciation features with precision and subtlety. That subtlety is something many of us may not be aware of. To give you one example, I was traveling by train once from Calcutta to Chennai, and for some reason, I had to travel by first class AC, and only two passengers were there, me and another person. I had bought a bottle of water from the railway station and kept it with me in front of me, and the other passenger saw that it was labeled railway, so he wanted to use that water. I didn't tell him anything. I bought it. I didn't tell him, but I told him politely, use of water sparingly. And he said, why sparingly? It's provided by railways. Then I had to explain, no, no, sir, I bought it from there. Then he understood that that word sparingly is something we use subtly in that particular context. This speaker at this stage sustains flexible use of features throughout, not just 10 minutes conversation. For example, so if somebody speaks for an hour, one should be able to be flexible in using all these features. And last one is effortless to understand. I hope everybody is able to understand what I speak effortlessly now. Some difficulties, technical difficulties you may have faced at the beginning, but now I hope everyone is able to understand me very well. Now, like this, we have for writing as well. So, for writing, we have two examples. One is for letter, another is for essay. First, we will see letter. Here we have again four headings: task achievement. Can we have the task achieved? So the writer here, when he or she writes a letter, fully satisfies all the requirements of the task. You know, this completeness, conciseness, clarity, cohesion, and just some seven C's or five C's, comprehensiveness, and all that. One should be able to satisfy all requirements of the task. Why, if you read a letter, you should not ask the writer, what is this, what is that, why is this something missing? The writer clearly presents a fully developed response in the letter. Similarly, when we come to coherence and cohesion, we see that the writer uses cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. If you find a list of ideas in a paragraph, for example, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, in a paragraph like that, if you had mentioned throughout, then that will become noticeable. How do we write a paragraph, listing paragraph without all these ideas being noticed? That itself is an art. So the writer is able to skillfully manage paragraphing in this case. Similarly, when it comes to lexical resource, we find that the letter writer uses a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control of lexical features. That's precisely called mastery of language. Some rare minor errors may occur as slips. When we again come to grammatical range and accuracy, we find that, like what we saw in speaking, this letter writer is able to use a wide variety of structures with full flexibility and accuracy. As we said earlier, some slips can occur, but they can be easily corrected by the writer or the speaker. Now you see essay. I am giving you these two examples because those of us who teach letter writing or essay writing, if we can use some band like this IELTS band, we may not have IELTS band in our classes, but if we can bring in that and use it, our students can really be benefited, and we also will be benefited. We know where we are. At least we will know whether my band is 9 or 8 or 7 or 6, and how I can improve myself. This is exactly criterion referenced assessment. Here again, we have four headings: task, achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. And many of those ideas are mentioned here again. Uh, so in this, as in the case of letter writing, essay also should be developed well, completely, coherently, uh, with a wide variety of vocabulary and structures, and accuracy must be there. And finally, communication must be achieved. Now, before we go to these 12 graduate attributes, we will have from Canada, from every country has developed this kind of list: Canada, US, Australia. These are the three countries which I have often referred to. In India also we have, based on these other ideas, we have our own list of graduate attributes. Our own writers have our academics, or those who are in training in the UGC or AICTE, or similar organizations, technical organizations, they have developed a list of graduate attributes. But before we go to this, if anybody wants to interact and ask questions, they can do that. And does anybody have any questions? I don't want to do this as a long lecture. If nobody wants to ask any questions, can you proceed further? Thank you. We have JST, are you there? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Can I get a response from anybody? Hello?
Sir, it's audible, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that I am speaking to audience, nothing else. Okay, thanks. Um, Now you can see 12 graduate attributes from Canada: knowledge base, problem analysis, investigation, design, use of engineering tools, individual and teamwork, communication skills, professionalism, impact of society on environment, ethics and equality, economics and project management, lifelong learning. You see all these attributes. Do our graduates have all these attributes? Do our courses and programs help our students to achieve all of them? And the question is, do we all inculcate, do we all cultivate such attributes in our students? Knowledge base, that's what is we have in our content. And problem analysis, some in maths or in science, somebody may, in engineering somebody may do that. In engineering design or some courses, they may do some design, and some tools also they may use in the laboratory. And we as teachers of English or other subjects, we can understand our students to work in individual and teamwork. And engineering, science, arts, if you look at all these three, you will find that you have more teamwork in engineering and science. But in arts, particularly in language subjects like Tamil and English, or some other language, our teamwork is less. And the reason is we have not designed our syllabus in such a way, or we don't deliver our content in such a way that our students are, or we were not trained like that to work in team. And we are also not so much inclined to do that, because we believe in individualism. Art is individual, poetry or some drama, it comes from imagination and all that, such high notions we have. And then we have communication skills common to all, professionalism, impact of society on environment, and all these things. And most importantly, lifelong learning. Do we keep on learning throughout our life? And it happens now with the NPTEL courses or Coursera courses and other things. People continuously learn now. We are compelled to learn now. Oh, sorry, sir. Can I call you after some time? Thank you. Today, I'm not really that much professional. There is some difficulty I have. We have some student learning outcomes, knowledge, skills, understanding, graduate attributes, values, you see, employability. These are the things that we expect to happen at the end of our graduate program. Let me put it in silent mode. Now, when it comes to knowledge, does the student have the expected knowledge? Do we all get the knowledge that we require at the end of the 4 years or 3 years? Similarly, skills. Does the student demonstrate the required skills? And when it comes to language teaching, you see, are the students able to speak, write a letter, write a paragraph, write a response? Many of us, just go back to your own date of joining in any college or university. Were you trained to report how to write a joining letter in a college or university? That I think only when we go to that particular situation, somebody guides us or helps us. So such things, what is required in life? That's why some of our educational thinkers long ago, they brought in some forms from the bank, pay in slip, or from some forms from post office, or some forms from railway counter, how to fill in these forms. Such things were brought into our English curriculum primarily because these are the things that we do in real life. Understanding. Does the student exhibit a holistic understanding of the subject? We understand the subject, but the whole question is holistic, uh, full perspective. Does the student display some qualities of a degree holder? Here and now I'll ask you a question. Immediately after this, I would expect you to tell me, have we ever thought about what are the qualities of a degree holder? Values. Does the student have some eternal values? uh, Values of love, kindness, compassion, serving, and all that. Employability, will the student be employable? This question, this is repeatedly answered year after year. Some 80% of the students are unemployable. Some 75% percent of students are unemployable. We hear this story every year. Report after report tells us. Any industry meeting, some professionals, when they meet, they say the same thing again and again. Our institutions try hard to help students achieve this. There is a problem. We know that there is a problem, but we don't know what to do about it. Before I proceed to the next slide, can I ask someone, have you thought about qualities of a degree holder? I am a degree holder, you are a degree holder. What does it mean to hold a degree? Did you ever think about it?
Sir, yes, sir. They should have
Yes.
some knowledge on the subject, as well as they should have some skills, especially soft skills or communication skills. They should have to enrich themselves. If they're going for a job, they should have these two qualities: subject knowledge plus communication skills.
Mm, thank you. I never thought about it seriously, and I'll just I googled and I found some answers. Thank you, madam. Look at this: qualities of a degree holder, capability, hard work, commitment, and some of us knowingly and unknowingly we have. Do you get the point? And then I added some more with a little more search. Commitment and responsibility may go together, but decision making, problem solving, communication, as you said, at the end, as you said, communication, we have we have these qualities of a degree holder. Maybe there are many other qualities which we have to explore and find out and help ourselves. If I am a degree holder, what does it mean to hold a degree? Is it a piece of paper? Uh, is it a piece of paper with some marks? And we have to ask ourselves and help ourselves to know more about it and help our students. Now we come to curriculum development. Our government is trying to, through this NEP and other means, state government or central government, both are trying to improve the flexibility of learning. And many of us are involved in this process of improving our learning to innovate teaching and learning. A teacher, for example, learns a subject and teaches a subject for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But at the end of 30 years or 20 years, what is our contribution to the process of learning or teaching? Have we been able to make some changes? Some of the teachers do make a change, But do they document their change? Do they write about it? Do they publish it? Is that knowledge made available to others? That's a question. To improve continuous teaching learning, you know very well, some certificate programs, diploma programs, some online programs or distance learning programs. These are all made available to us for this continuous teaching learning, and FDPs, faculty development programs are meant for this. And to assess students at various levels. We may teach English, we may teach computer science. Can we assess students at various levels, low level, middle level, and high level? Or at first year, second year, third year, plus two, or college or postgraduate level, at the university level, at least undergraduate level and postgraduate level. We may think that everything is continuous, but can we make a demarcation and understand this is what we have to do at the undergraduate level, this is what we have to do at the postgraduate level? And to evaluate program learning outcomes. These are very common words now: programming, program learning outcomes, course learning outcomes, and all. Here also we have to see whether these two match to maintain highest standards of education. And lastly, to create an environment of global competitiveness. As you can see, we have this global competitiveness everywhere today. VIT is fighting with other universities in the country to attract students from other countries. IIT is opening campus in other countries. Other private universities are opening campuses in different parts of the country, and also some of them may go to other countries as well if our government allows it. So we many areas are there, and we have just I teach one subject, so I must be confined to one subject. We can't think like that. We This is exactly the holistic understanding of our educational environment, and we have to help. As a teacher of English, what can I do? That's I feel happy in one way, because I whatever I did, I was able to document, write papers, present them in seminars, and then publish them in different periodicals or journals, and then finally put them together in the form of a book, English language education in India, the teaching paradigms, or shifting paradigms. So I was able to do that small contribution in some way. Now, when we come to learning cycle, we have three cycles: planning phase, to set specific outcomes. We do that, and if you can do it with in consultation with our stakeholders, our learners, that will be good. We do that at IIT. We do that. Whether this is a course outcome we have, this is a course content that we have. Do you need any change? Do you want some modification, and all that we do? And based on the interest of the students, one batch after another, we keep on improving to set specific outcomes, design content, plan the content delivery. How do we present the content delivery? To prepare assessment strategy, how do we assess students? And that's where autonomy is really useful for academics. If you teach drama, can you also plan to take the students to a drama show, a performance show in outside the class in Chennai city or in other places? That happened once. I did. That happened because I came to IIT. Otherwise, it would not have been possible. So I asked the students to. Went along with them to watch a drama, and then came back to class, and we asked the students to write about what they watched. So that is possible. Actually, that we modified while doing the semester. We modified in the middle because that announcement came in the middle. Execution phase, to focus on delivering quality content in the best possible ways, to map and measure the outcomes at every step, at every unit, at every class, and every class, every 10 minutes, what we do. Coherence, unity, holistic understanding, all these things we have to think at every stage. And it's like constructing a house. Everything must finally add up to the house. Or making a car, everything first finally must make up the car. Something should not be distracting, something should not go against the car or the house, or in our case, the educational system. And then attainment phase, to evaluate student learning, how the students learn. And certainly you will find that what even the best of teachers will find that students have not learned everything. Some gaps are there. And we can understand that through the test that we conduct. When students don't write what we taught in the class, or what we want them to respond, how we want them to respond, if they don't do that, we can understand that there is a learning gap. If we are a little more aware of, we can also assess our own gaps, what we did not teach, what is a gap in our own learning, we can assess and help ourselves. teacher and student, they go together. Please remember, teacher is not different from the student, or the learner is not different from the teacher. There is always a coexistence or symbiotic relationship between the teacher and the learner. Physically we may be different, but all of us are learners in some way. We help each other. Then how do we deliver content? Most of us are using this offline traditional chalkboard method. Now because of this corona, we are familiar with online platform based teaching and learning. Because I was using more of Gmeet, Google Meet, I expected that to happen. But some people use, everyone uses, say for example, this Microsoft team or micro teams or MS Teams or Zoom. Everyone now, most of us are familiar with many of these things. Or we make video lectures, or we prepare for this webinars, industrial projects. This particular industrial project is one I am weak, I never did that. Seminars, workshops, many poster and video poster product and poster presentations, we don't do that normally in our arts courses, but in science and engineering they do that very often. Video productions, can you imagine that political science teacher can uh, publish his entire work in the form of a video? I saw that happening here. Instead of publishing a paper, what that professor did, he made a video and made it available online. Then assignments, after corona we have done both online and offline, and industrial and field visits are very common for every course, whatever it is. We can, particularly in our English subjects, teachers are worried, how can I have a field visit, what kind of industrial visit we can make, and all that we are worried. It requires some kind of imagination or innovation. Think in so everyone is unique. Think in so many ways. One, think, imagine. Another, read about innovative practices. Another is observe innovative practices. That's why meeting people, going to different campuses will be really useful. Now, assessment and question paper preparation. We have two kinds of assessment, as you know, internal evaluation and external evaluation or end semester examination. This weightage varies from place to place. In some place we may have 80-20 or 70-30. In our case, we have 50-50, and sometimes some teachers go below 50, 40 internal, sorry, 60 internal, 40 external, and some others, they don't have any end semester examination at all. They go for some term paper or some assignment, they write a paper, they produce a video, and it depends on the individual teacher, and for that we have to get some special permission, and we do that. And that may not be available, that may not be feasible, possible in different universities or colleges. We have all these facilities. It depends on our subject, it depends on the resources available, laboratory or practical work or daily assignment. And also, uh, how much is possible daily assignment, how many daily assignment can you give? Minor or major projects, seminars, student seminars. Last semester what I did was, I asked students to make two seminar presentations. One, I made presentation for 30 hours, I made presentations, and then another 10 hours one presentation by students, another 10 hours presentation by students, using different content related to the same subject. So that is possible, and the students also have to cooperate. We have a lot of complications in our context. So what is possible for me may not be possible for someone. What is possible for another person in another place may not be possible for me here. So uh, it is all about what we can do with wherever we are in a given situation, where we are and what we can do. That's that's pragmatic. Practically what is possible in a particular situation, we should be able to make use of it. This exit survey is also possible. I haven't done that so far. I used to ask students at the end of the course. We used to have one class and discuss, but proper documented survey I haven't done. In some places we have some course feedback or teacher feedback like that we have, that is documented properly, and that is used for assessing teacher performance, and then promotion purpose as well. There are three levels of course outcome. We program outcome, and then program specific outcome. For example, postgraduate program. Then in postgraduate program, PG in MA in English, or MSc in physics, or MTech in structural engineering, you will have such program specific outcome, and then within the program we have many courses, 10 courses or 12 courses. Some may be common to, for example, general English is common to all arts or UG undergraduate students. Poetry may be uh, useful, or poetry may be there in a BA course or MA course. It can be at the undergraduate level or at the postgraduate level. And then nuclear physics or discrete mathematics in first semester, second semester, third semester, different levels will be there. So we have course outcomes as well. All these must match, as we said earlier: course outcomes, course contents, uh, teaching methodology, assessment methodology, all must have coherence. If we have that, we can really do wonders. Now, program outcomes. Yeah, earlier we saw graduate attributes from Canada. Now, Washington Accord has 12 graduate attributes like this. It is similar to that. You can somewhat different, but normally similar to what mostly this is a system arrived at commonly by all kinds of countries together. So we follow this. Lifelong learning is one which we did not see earlier, is this finance and management of project. Many of us are afraid of taking up projects. One reason is we have some difficulty. We are not trained for that. Project proposal writing is one skill that all of us have to develop, but many of us are not equipped with that. And now we learn on our own to survive in a setup. We learn on our own. That is okay, but then where is that finance and management? Some of us are afraid of taking a project. Even if you know how to write a project proposal, how to get one, we are afraid of projects because we don't know how to manage the finance. This I have come across some people. Why take bills and produce all of them and get into trouble and all that? Some of us have that kind of attitude as well. What to do? But everyone must be able to manage his or her own finance. At home, we do that. Some do it very well. Some others don't do that well, and that's why all these are required. Don't think that these are required only for education purpose. These are all required for our family purpose as well. Everyday living, all these things are required. Now, in our Indian context, this NJ Rao has mentioned these program outcomes of critical thinking, problem solving, computational thinking, effective communication, social interaction, self-directed and lifelong learning, effective citizenship, ethics, environment, sustainability, and lastly, global perspective. Many of our educational programs, these are all used by our UGC and AICT. That's why in the Indian context, we have these program outcomes. Program specific outcomes, you can see arts, engineering, and science. And what is important is at least 4 specific goals must be connected with every individual program. If we have all these for postgraduate or undergraduate program, then postgraduate PG in uh, mathematics must have at least 4 specific goals. That's what they expect us to have. And then when we come to undergraduate level, one particular course, BSc Zoology, this PSO 1, 2, 3, 4, you would have, I did not do that. Honestly, I did not prepare that kind of table where CO1, PO1 and all that. But I came across this from ROV 2020. In the case of BSc Zoology, what is supposed to be done? Understand that at least 4 must be identified. One is understand the nature and basic concepts of cell biology, biochemistry, taxonomy, and ecology. 2, analyze the relationships among animals, plants, and microbes. 3, perform procedures as per laboratory standards in the areas of biochemistry, bioinformatics, taxonomy, economic zoology, and ecology. And lastly, understand the applications of biological sciences in apiculture, aquaculture, agriculture, and medicine. In the same way, we are expected to have for every program, undergraduate program or postgraduate program. Now, everyone knows about this Bloom's taxonomy. What we have to understand is this was developed in 1956 and it has been modified over a period of time by others. Particularly this apply, analyze, that has uh, apply, analyze, synthesize. That one is modified now, and that's why you have evaluate and create. One more thing that I want you to remember is in some subjects they say creation is possible, evaluation is possible. Higher order thinking skills they will not be able to include. But I believe even language teachers can aim at evaluation or creation. Higher order thinking skills, these three, analyzing, evaluating, creating, these are higher order thinking skills. And remembering, understanding, applying, these are supposed to be lower order thinking skills. When we have a question paper where define, describe, mention, who, what, these are lower order thinking skills. In many question papers, you will find them. And when we come to analyze, evaluate, create, there you will have difficulty because designing questions like this involves some thinking from ourselves. We need to work hard for that. We need to understand the subject much more than what we know at this stage, and that's why we find it difficult. Now, I teach a course called Literature and Life here at IIT Madras. For the sake of this presentation, I made this and I share it with my students as well. Course outcomes. These are the course outcomes I have, and I have connected them with this program outcome, BTech program. I teach this primarily for BTech students to appreciate the close relationship between literature and life. Literature and life are interconnected. How are they interconnected? Two, to protect students against their own self-destructive thoughts. You know very well, some of the students have a tendency to become depressed, and then they have developed suicidal tendencies. Can we help students to stop their suicidal thoughts? Now you can ask me a question: what can literature do to help students to stop their destructive thoughts? But I have been able to do it in here. I was able to get some content related to that, discuss this in the classroom, and then help students to establish better relationships with close and distant relatives. You know very well, we have problems with our own close relatives, husband and wife, they have problems. Father and mother have problems with their children, and we have problems with our own colleagues in the department. So, how can we understand relationships? I designed this course in such a way that this can help us to understand that. Then analyze arbitrary nature of social and political structures. All structures are arbitrary. Why we should have in one system in such a way? These are all arbitrary, and arbitrary has some problem with power structures. So that takes us to the next question: challenges of family and business organizations. How do you run a family? How do you run an organization? And that means, how do we manage people? How do we manage resources, including people? So I try to include certain things like this in this course. And one of the most satisfying jobs for me at IIT is to teach this course year after year. It is also available on NPTEL, and some of the students from other places are also able to do it. So knowledge application, creation, analysis, evaluation, and connect them with knowledge base, problem solving, teamwork, social responsibility, and problem solving. So I have put it twice. Some cases can be added twice as well. Now, how do we deliver this? Some lectures I give, some discussions we do in the class. The discussions can be teacher led or student. Some student can also take over. Some online resources I give them. Journal articles I give some links, or some articles also I send them. Some videos I play in the classroom, and then ask the students to watch them. Similarly, we every course must have a term paper, something called assignment. They should be able to write, and they should be able to make the presentation of their writing in the classroom for common. Everyone should be able to make presentation. And we have end of semester examinations, and in this end semester examination, they should be able to write short answer questions and essay type questions. And within this essay type, we have one compulsorily one poem they have to analyze. So they will learn about poetry as well in some depth. They will everyone will be compelled to do that. So that means we also do that in the classroom. What is poetry, and how do we analyze poetry? What we learn from poetry? What purpose poetry serves humanity? All those questions we discuss in the classroom. And we connect it with the depression, or our heart requiring some release, writing some poems. Everybody is a poet, so students are very happy to do it. And this part, I can mention, I did not I as far as I am concerned, I have tried to do it in my own way. But AICT or UGC requires you to prepare those charts or tables.
That's a mind-blowing job, really tough job. Some people are good at it, some others, oh god, I don't want to do it, I don't want to get into it. Some people will be worried too much about it. It requires some mental skill, stamina, mental stamina. It requires consistently thinking about this CO1, PO1. That is a real job. And also we next is some statistical work also has to be done. You'll see that is much more difficult for us. So one is connected with CO1 is connected with PO1 and PO9, PO10, and all that we try to show. Now this is the toughest part. How many hours for one CO1, and how many hours for PO1, and what is the percentage, whether it is high level or low level or moderate level or insignificant. We have to do this. Somebody has to help me to do it. I never did this myself, but I hope many of you are doing this in your institutes, or some of you are taking help from somebody to do it. Now we have a lot of challenges in implementing this OBE in our own country, because we are not that much familiar with all this. That's one thing, and we are learning. We are learning from friends. We are learning from internet. We are learning in so many ways. As I have been trying to do, everyone is doing something. Changes in curriculum is, yeah, that is always challenging. Resource allocation, how many teachers, how many hours, how many classrooms, how many desks, how many projectors. To play a video you need a projector, sound system. All that is managing examination. How do you conduct so many assessments, 1 2 3, for so many courses, so many classes, and then creating assessments using Bloom's taxonomy. And knowledge content creation, how do you create so much of content, and calculating COs and POs. All these are challenging by themselves. Somehow we have been doing in our own way as much as possible. We are managing. If we are able to produce something good for our society, we should be happy about it. Now we come to the last part of it, learning the value of verbs. Why are verbs important? I realized this through my writing of an article called The Proverbial Teaching of English. Our teaching of English is generally noun based. We teach nouns. We teach, this is a book, that is a table, this is mommy, that is daddy, like that. We teach nouns primarily. We learn English primarily through nouns. But in my reading, after so many years, I came across one article. When I was doing a course on poetry, I came across this article, The Romantic Mode in Poetry. The critic is Josephine Miles. She says romantic poetry is distinguished by primarily by the use of verbs. Then I started reading some poems, and I found that to some extent what she claims is true. A lot of verbs you'll find in the writings of romantic poetry, in contrast to classical poetry, where you'll find more of nouns. And then all educational objectives we write using verbs. That is Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy of objectives. This I myself I have done proverbial teaching of English. Start with teaching verb. There is an article which I have included in my book, English Language Teaching in Education. This is also available separately in a conference proceedings. Recently, I came across this writer Simon Sinek. Actually, he's a consultant, business consultant. He's a very famous one on the internet. Some of you may be already familiar with his TED talk on Start with Why, and I will spend some time on that as well. The next slide. We write career objectives with verbs. We write research objectives with verbs. General instructions we give with verbs. Military commands, imperatives, they are all verbs. So if we if we learn the value of verbs, we can do a good job of outcome based education. That's a claim that I make. And what is the value of verbs? Simon Sinek says, for values or guiding principles to be truly effective, they have to be verbs. Values have to be verbs. Learning has to be verbs. That's what I can say. It's not integrity. It's always do the right thing. It's not innovation. It's look at the problem from a different angle. Articulating our values as verbs gives us a clear idea. We have a clear idea of how to act in any situation. We can hold each other accountable to them, measure them, or even build incentives around them. Telling people to have integrity doesn't guarantee that their decisions will always keep customers or clients' best interest in mind. Telling them to always do the right thing does. Do the right thing rather instead of saying have integrity. Integrity is abstract. We may not know exactly, but when we say do the right thing, we will do that. I hope JST and her team they have done the right thing by conducting this kind of FDP, and the participants I believe they have done the right thing by attending this kind of program, and I believe I also have joined this effort to make this presentation and doing the right thing to think about outcome based education in our country for our own good. Here are some references. I made this presentation, prepared this presentation long ago. I did not have problems at that time, but now today, unusually, I had some difficulty with the computer. It asked me for restart, and then I had to do that. And even after that, I had some difficulty with making the presentation available to you, voice and all that. I am so sorry. Now let's come to the end of it by thanking the organizer Jayashree for giving me this opportunity. And I like to thank all the participants for their patient listening. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask me, share your thoughts. I'll be happy to answer.
Sir, this is Mutleka from Sona College of Technology, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
madam.
Sir, I'm so happy to attend this session, sir. Especially, it's very simple, direct, and already I work in NIT Trichy and NIT Karaikal. I know about outcome-based education, but the way you express it, right, it's really good, sir. And I have doubts, sir, especially on course exit survey.
Yeah.
Sir, is it about the students' feedback about the course and the faculty members, or it's about exclusively about the course? Do we
We
have
do it
any kind of
ourselves.
methodology?
Yeah. I mentioned it. We have a teacher feedback, we have a course feedback.
Mm.
That may not be exactly exit feedback. Uh,
Yes, sir.
we do it ourselves at the end of the course in the
Mm.
classroom with our students. We do it. See, for the sake of formality, something can be done.
Mm.
To understand it really, we need to know the mind of students.
Okay.
It is similar to what companies do, exit survey.
Mm.
We have to know the mind of students uh, by informal but
Mm.
good talk, frank talk.
Okay. Now, do we have to document it, sir, or
Yeah, we
can
can
I have it?
document it. See, we can document it for ourselves and learn from it and help ourselves to improve in future, to improve the content of the course, improve our delivery mechanism. You can't
Okay.
believe that in IIT we have the system. Students they come to me and tell me, "Sir, you have spent so much time on this particular topic
Mm.
that can be reduced." They will tell me. Some
Mm.
students will say, for example, when I sometimes I speak very fast, they would tell me, give me
Mm.
feedback. Small things.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
okay. Thank you so much. Anybody else? I didn't go to office today. I stayed at home and I wanted to make this presentation and then go to office because I speak loudly and it may be a nuisance for my neighbor in my office. But then I had a visitor, waterman was giving me water. I had to receive it. And then nearby we have one mechanic shed. There was some motorbike noise. All these we have to live with. What to do? In spite of that, we have to produce outcomes. That is a challenge, typical challenge.
Sir, but it's really a wonderful session, sir. We enjoy it. It's very
Thank,
lively too.
thank you so much, ma'am.
Do we have any more queries?
Any
Any
questions,
questions?
any
You can
comments?
even type it in the chat box. We'll read it aloud.
One thing that I follow is always complete the session at least 1 or 2 minutes in advance. Some principles I follow like that, and today it so happened that I could finish it a few minutes early.
Sir, actually, I'm inspired by your teaching methodology. Your teaching pedagogy is really good, sir.
Thank you. See, this kind of PPT, I did not have this before. Now, all pages you will find only 28 font size.
Yes, sir.
Title will be red color, and that will
Yes.
be 40 size.
Mm.
So, this kind of some kind of identity, my PPT will be unique.
Yes, sir.
That way, I have tried to establish some kind of identity for myself.
If we
Thank you
don't
so
have,
much, JST, for this. I feel really I'm extremely sorry about the beginning hitches that we had.
yeah, if we don't have any more questions, I think we can wind up the session. Uh, do we have any more questions or any additional insights that you would like to add to the session? It would be more than welcome.
Actually, this kind of program we cannot ensure complete participation because everyone will keep this alive or open, and then they'll do so many things. What to do? That's where integrity or doing the right thing we may not be able to ensure. We are compelled to attend to so many things. What to do? We hold a degree, we hold a certificate. We should go beyond that. We should try, and then only we can grow really.
So if we don't have, I agree to all that you say, sir. If we don't have any more questions or if you don't have anything to discuss, maybe we can wind up the session. Like all the participants here are, typing in the chat box. It was very informative. It was very insightful. We loved listening to you, sir, and looking forward to even further collaborations also with you. Thank you so much on behalf of VIT Chennai and the organizers, myself and Dr. Jayashree. She's not here. She has got a class. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all the
Exactly,
participants for joining.
exactly. Every one of us has some kind of responsibility, and then we are expected to do everything. So I do one thing at a time, nothing more. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
sir.
Bye.
Nice
Bye.
being with
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
all participants. Meet you again at 1:30.